Welcome, Roisin, all the way from Ireland, and welcome, Trish from Malta. Thank you for joining us this morning from Sydney. So we've come to 8:15, so we'll start our Cred.15 at 8:15. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, Roisin, I think this is your first live webinar. Welcome, and Trish, welcome back. Welcome to the Cred.15, where we invite you to slow down for 15 minutes twice a day. And we hope that you leave feeling more calm, focused, and positive. I have the pleasure of introducing my co-host, Kendra Strubik, who's going to support me, and we're going to work together during the session today. And I'll hand over to Kendra in a moment. Just very brief housekeeping. This is a Zoom webinar. We do have some people following on Facebook Live, but we want to make it as interactive as possible. And we'll invite you to use the chat box after we do some reflection exercises. So today, it's Saturday, feeling a bit more relaxed, got my baseball cap on, so we're hoping that this is a relaxed and fun session. Now I'd like to invite Kendra to take us through our arrival and emotional labeling exercise. Thanks, Kendra.
Thanks, Ronan. So I introduced box breathing yesterday, and I thought, well, we might need more than one go of that to master that technique. It is a mindfulness exercise. It's a form of mental training, but it also activates your parasympathetic nervous system. So just some light instructions. Box breathing is, I want you to picture that you're breathing in time and creating a box as you do. And we're going to do a 5-second box breathing exercise. So if you've not done this before, the key is to breathe in deeply right into your belly so that you get enough air in your lungs to be able to hold for those 5s. So we're going to breathe in for 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5, and hold for 5. That's the pattern. Join me now. We'll do 3 cycles. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Second round. Breathe in for 5. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Last round. Breathe in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Out. Hold. Thank you. One of the things we can tend to do day to day is shallow breathe. So just 3 cycles of box breathing can help you shift your state whenever you need to. When we're talking about state, we're talking about the emotions that are flooding your body and how you're feeling. Feeling is the conscious recognition that I'm experiencing emotion. Being able to articulate and label that emotion dampens them down. As long as you don't go into the story of why do I feel like that and what's happening to the world. So you don't want to engage with the feeling, you just want to name the feeling. I call this exercise name it to tame it. And you might be feeling a number of emotions at the same time. What we're going to do is pause and check in and notice how we are feeling and language that. So put words to it. Just take a moment now to check in and notice what's present for you this morning. And the chat box is the bottom right of your screen. So I want you to click on that and type in and share with us how you're feeling today. Type the words into the chat box. For me, I do have a little bit of residual stiffness and tiredness because it's a Saturday morning. the deep sense of peace and calm that's there with it. What's present for you? Trisha's happily sliding down a rainbow today. I hope there's a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow for you, Trish. Relaxed and slowing down. Thank you. Can see a couple of other people have joined us. Welcome back, Katie and Nicole. We're just finishing off our labeling exercise. So do take time to just check in and notice how you're feeling. And if you're able to, type it into the chat box. So Ronan's spoiling me today. He's going to do the bulk of the heavy lifting. And I look forward to doing the exercises with you folks.
Thank you, Kendra. As we said at the start of the session today, we're going to use today as an opportunity to reflect, and I might borrow one of Kendra's terms, preflection. So a little bit of looking back to identify some of the learnings and our insights and how we're going to use them going forward. So we do want to give some time, we don't want to rush through this. So we've got two questions we're going to focus on in our area of direct. And then I'm going to pass back to Kendra to talk about move and connect. So having a deep dive into direct for a couple of minutes. So my first question to you is, what has been your biggest learning this week? For some of you who may have been on the webinar series, it may have been a tool or an insight or an experience that Kendra shared, or maybe an aha moment you had yourself. For those of you who haven't been on, maybe reflect back on your week and think about maybe it was a work or a personal situation where you've learned something this week. So we're going to leave some silence and invite you to reflect. And if you'd like to, please do share and type in the chat box. We would love to hear. So my biggest personal learning this week has been I haven't communicated as well as I should have to the people around me. I've gone off and started things and haven't always communicated or let other people know or got everyone's buy-in. So my biggest learning this week. Kendra, can I invite you to, have you had a chance to do some reflection?
Yeah, so I was just trying to synthesize it to type it into the chat box. But for me, it's taking responsibility for my finances a little bit more. When those bills snuck up, I went through my in tray, and right at the bottom there, I'd been notified I'd just been slack and not on top of it. And it's an area that I don't enjoy, all of those little activities. So I need to be more disciplined and take responsibility for my finances. Thanks,
Kendra. I've often heard that lawyers put the difficult case on the bottom of the pile the whole time, and when it gets to the top, they just put it back to the bottom again. Thank you. What Kendra was talking about earlier in the week about how the over positivity can drain you and how it's important to find quiet time for your emotions and your brain. Thank you for sharing that, Trish. And Roisin, surprised how good I feel after just 15 minutes of checking in and slowing down. Oh, thank you, Roisin. That's wonderful. Thanks for sharing. The second item of reflection we'd invite you to focus on for the next few minutes is an element of really understanding ourselves and our strengths at this time. In a time of difficulty or crisis, we often find that the very best of our attributes come to the fore. And I love the concept of superpowers. So I'd like you to reflect on, what do you think your superpower is? I think we all do have one. And I'm going to use the example of a dear friend of mine who has said, shouldn't support people to nourish their soul through food. And I think that's a beautiful superpower. So I think this needs a bit of reflection. So I'm going to invite you to reflect in silence for a couple of minutes about, what is your superpower? This may be difficult because none of us like to admit we're good at things or acknowledge ourselves for what we're good at. If you'd like to, I invite you to share your response in the chat box now. Kendra, can I put you on the spot?
Yeah, you can. So I'm trying to dial up strengths for me, because I can identify clear strengths like connection, connector. I can connect people and opportunities, people and ideas. So that networking aspect is a big part of my superpower. But I'm not sure what the overall superpower is. I was once told that I've got the Midas touch, that whatever I touch turns to gold. And I'm not saying that to blow my own trumpet. I'm saying that because I might come in and see something that could be different around that, and I'll step in and make it happen. And I have very few failures. So maybe that's a superpower I have.
I think it is, Kendra, absolutely. But even going through that experience, as you said yourself, you're familiar with strengths, and you could list off your top 5 strengths in a couple of seconds there. But to dial it up a bit, so maybe today is a great place to start, a bad place to finish on this exercise. So maybe invite you to reflect on it over the next days and weeks ahead. Thank you, Kendra. Kendra, I'd like to invite you to complete the scan of our 3 focus areas for the rest of the day. Thank you, Kendra.
Yeah, shall do. I could just notice Trish popped in, keep going no matter what. The superpower of persistence. It's a nice one to have. Sometimes just being the last person there that keeps going is enough. So we've been doing a lot of direct, and Ronan's given us the challenge to click into our strengths and dial up our superpower and notice that throughout the day. So that's how we're going to direct our attention. How are we going to move? So how are we going to squeeze in some physical activity into our weekend Saturday for those of us in Australia? For those of you where it's nighttime, your activity's just got a whole lot more exciting. How are you going to move? So for me today, I'm going to go and help a friend clean her new house. So I think I'm going to get lots of activity, perhaps painting, cleaning, productive activity. What can we do to make our movement productive? And connect. You've got a choice for connect. It's Saturday. You're going to slow down and connect more deeply with yourself. Perhaps engage in a bit of self-care, a nice bath. Or you're going to connect with others and increase the quality of the connection. You're going to reach out to someone, make that phone call, make that video conference, make their day. Who are you going to connect with? And how are you going to do it? Just take a moment to commit to yourself and choose an intention for both move, connect. And of course, we will check in with you at 5:15 tonight and see how you're going with your superpowers and how your day or evening unfolded. So thanks for joining us for the Cred.15 Morning 15 on Saturday, the 4th. We'll look forward to seeing you tonight. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, guys.